So everybody wants to be able to shoot. Everybody wants to shoot. But you see some ugly, ugly shots out there. So the Otter Basketball 5-hour shooting camp is going to take players through shooting progressions, break down their shot, building them from the foundation, starting with their feet, their hips, their shoulders, their elbow, follow through, everything. We break it down completely in these 5 hours. So there's a huge reason why we only take up to 18 kids in a shooting camp, because we get extremely hands-on with each and every kid. But we are going to give them a very detailed approach to shot development. We're going to take players through progressions. We're going to break down their shot, take them through progressions, and build it back up. We teach them lots of checkpoints to go through each and every progression. And really what it does is we teach players how to teach themselves as they go through the shooting camp.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to break a player's bad habits that they develop through years of maybe shooting the ball incorrectly or shooting on a rim that is way too high. You know, in the U.S. we've got these 7, 8-year-olds playing on these 10-foot rims. It's always flabbergasted me how we've done that, and then we've taught kids how to really just throw the ball at the rim. So when you're trying to reroute these shooting mechanics through breakdown checkpoints, and I talk a lot about rhythmic progressions, what I'm really trying to do is teach them how to go home and teach themselves how to shoot correctly, because I'm not going to break your bad habits in 5 hours, but I'm going to be able to show you how to break them. And I think that's a big piece, you know. Mm-hmm. It
really is. So we are really going to teach players how to shoot as efficient as possible. And the way we do that is by eliminating all wasted motion in their shot. So we're going to teach a one-click shot. We're going to teach players how to catch with a wrinkled wrist or their palm open to the wall, so that they're able to go right into their shot in a one-click smooth motion.
Yeah, so the whole system, you know, we talk about line, rhythm, and release point. The whole system's built off of exercise science principles. So a lot of people talk about how you really, you know, shoot, you want to shoot with your legs. But in reality, exercise science principles talk a lot about your body as your power source. So you want to shoot through your body. And I guess that's, you know, the floor to fingertips ball. That's what it's kind of talking about, that power surge that starts at the floor and ends at your fingertips. And your ability to stay on line while you do it and have good rotation. So as we break down their shot and take them through these progressions, and you know, Coach just mentioned they want to be one-click shooters. What we're really saying there is we want to smooth out their release as much as possible, make it one motion to create less room for error. But when you also mention being more efficient, we speed your release point up. So that's the other piece, is you make it more efficient, you eliminate you cut all the fat out of it, you make that shot much faster coming out of their hand. We've had a lot of the best shooters in the country of kind of our program, #2 all time in free throw percentage, you know, multiple kids leading their states in free throw percentage all time. And I think it's just because, you know, we make it so simple to go home and practice it and implement it into your routine. You know, one of the things I think I hear a lot of kids talk about, well, is this doesn't feel, you know, like my other shot, or it doesn't feel as natural. And one of the things I always say is, you know, it feels natural for some people to wake up every single day and smoke a cigarette, but it doesn't mean it's a good thing. It's a bad habit. So how do we fix these bad habits? And that's why I have to take 18, because everything's different. And the one thing I can tell you is, you know, when you're talking about ball handling, you're putting kids in athletic stances, you're moving them certain ways. But when we're talking about shooting, every kid may hold the ball a little different. And how do I figure out how to tweak that or fix that to get them right? And what do I have them do? I mean, we've got our foundational drills here, but, you know, what am I going to do to help you reach that goal of that foundational drill and how to build your shot? So that's why we have the small numbers, and it's really hands-on, and I have to really go around and kind of move kids around and adjust them. And obviously body types and grips are all different, and wrist mobility and shoulder mobility and core mobility all adds to that.
There's so many different opinions out there on shooting and shooting styles and different things, but the one thing that we have always been able to do is to consistently break that down and build people up to where their shot isn't only efficient, but it's also consistent. And if you don't have consistency when you go out into the game, you certainly don't want to be a streaky shooter. So you've got to have that consistent base.
Yeah, and one of the things that we always say is, you know, I don't just teach shooting, I don't just teach Well, I don't teach dribbling, we teach movement mechanics, but it's all ties into the same thing. It all goes back to my exercise science background and my teaching background. And I think the breakdown checkpoint stuff really kind of came out with the special education, and as one of my degrees is in teaching special education in health and PE, but with the special ed piece, I had to break things down, and that's kind of what we did with the shot development program. Is I had an NBA shooting coach that had worked with me when I was a player, and I just took that and broke it down even more, because for our kids, they have to be able to shoot it. When you're talking about being an average sized kid, one of the things that can set you apart and is being a 90% free throw shooter, being a 50% shooter from the field, shooting over 40% from the three, actually, being a 180 shooter. And our kids have to do that because they're undersized. And those are things that don't change. Like, everybody shoots a free throw. In every level, it's a 15-foot shot. So if you shoot 90% from the free throw line in high school, that doesn't change anywhere you go. In college, you're going to be shooting an uncontested 15-foot free throw. So that is a big, to me, that really determines a lot. And that's why you see we have so many great free throw shooters out of our program.
Absolutely. There's a lot of players that are going to be coming in, and your son or daughter may be the same way, where they're wanting to shoot step backs and they're wanting to shoot like Steph Curry way out. But if they don't have the foundational component that we teach with the A through D shooting, which is really our bread and butter, our meat and potatoes, that everything in the shooting program is built off of. And what we've had some great shooters in our program, and they say, it's all about A through D, and that's something that you don't get unless you come to the shooting camp. So get registered for those shooting camps. We also highly, highly recommend that you do have outer basketball experience prior to the shooting camp, specifically the one-day camp if possible, or if you've gone through the point guard elite or the junior elite, that's fine too. But there's a lot that we teach in those day camps or those other camps that will feed right into the shooting camp, that will just help you with your feet and your alignment, your hips and posture.
Your chest open, we talk
open.
A lot about. That's a major thing with our the day camp, and that leads right into the point guard camp, as well as the rhythm piece. So too many kids are dropping their chest on their shot, and they have trouble with rhythm. But I think you hit it best right there. Is a lot of kids are trying to do calculus. They're trying to do something they see, on their Instagram highlights, rather than you got to have your foundation. You got to understand basic arithmetic to do calculus correctly. And that's what we're doing here. Is we're really going to build and talk about how you progress, to those more advanced shots, and those are all in the program, but they're later down the road. And what happens is if you try to jump ahead, you're gonna fall off track, and specifically with shooting, come off line usually, which creates issues.
The 5-hour shooting camp is also another camp that coaches could bring into their school, to their program, or hold one open to the public. If you're interested in doing that, contact us today at 866-357-2966. You can register for Otter Basketball's 5-hour shooting camp at otterbasketball.com.